Python lists are simple containers which include a group of numbers or strings. They could be accessed through the index, which specifies the position of that piece of data inside the list. For example, let's try the list A, which is simple, a group of integers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Now, in this example, if we want to access any value, we can say A, and within square brackets, we add the index to the sought element. Now, notice that the index of the in Python lists starts from 0. So 0 is the first, refers always to the first element in the list. Keep this in mind because if, for example, the list A, if we want to know the length or the size of list A, we can use the function length, len, and it will give us 5. So 5 is the number of elements inside A. But the index to the last element is 4. So if we say A 5, it will give us an error message because the last index is always less by 1 from total length of the list. So for that reason, if we want to get the last element, we say A4. Or there's another trick. We can say A minus 1. That means this is the element from the other side, the first element from the other side. This is used in Python also to go backwards. For example, if we say A minus 2, so it will be the next element from the end. One of the interesting properties of lists that they can include different types of values. So for example, if we say scientist, so if we say scientist, zero, so it will give us the name because the first element is the name Isaac Newton. Similarly, if we enter the element 2, for example, it will give the second date or the date of death. So this is the way we can use the lists to include records of different types of values. Or we can use a list of different sizes of sublists. So as you see here, for example, I open the first bracket and then a second bracket. In this way, we can save a group of lists inside a big list. So if we want to get any list, if I say, for example, K0, it will give me the first list. Now, if I want to reach the first element in the first list, K00, which is 1. So here, as you see, we can use lists as some kind of matrices. However, this is not exactly the mathematical form of matrices, because matrices, one of the conditions is should be similar in type. And the second problem is matrices are either square or rectangular. This matrix, if we consider K a matrix here, actually it has a so weird shape. It is irregular in the number of columns. Yes, it has 3 rows. If we want to express it in rows, it could have 3 rows, but the number of columns is inconsistent. Again, we can retrieve another element. For example, if we say 2 and 1, so it will give us 8, because 2 is the index of the third list inside the big list, and the 1 is the index to the second element in the third list. Now, usually in programming, we may need to initiate a new list, an empty list. So in order to achieve that, we have two simple ways. First, we can define the name of the list and say list, or simply by opening and closing empty brackets, which are also, so if we say, for example, type what is B, it will say B is a list, it's a member of the class list, and also type C, again, it's a list. But there are two empty lists which we can fill by using member functions or methods. For example, if we want to add an element to B, so I will say B append 5. So if I press B, now B has one element, 5. If I want to add another element, I would say B dot append, and let's say 6. So B now has 5 and 6, and so on.